Folks, Russia is laughing its ass off at us. And in particular, Vladimir Putin is laughing at us. And as you can see here, he and Donald Trump are basically going out together. And Trump's throwing kisses at him, and obviously he's throwing kisses to Trump, but his kisses don't look as good as Trump's. Trump's are full-blown, I love you kisses. Russia is currently pitching a shutout against America. If you want to take score, Russia is beating us 5-0. Russia is backing the president of Syria, Assad. So I give them 1 point for that. Because he's still there, I give us 0. Russia lied to us about Assad removing the chemical weapons out of Syria. I got to give Russia 1 point for that because we swallowed and didn't check ourselves. We get 0. Russia came in and had an effect on our elections. I got to give Russia a point for that. We get a 0 because we didn't do a damn thing about it except after the fact some bullshit sanctions. Russia is impacting foreign elections, i.e. France and Germany. 1 point for Russia, 0 for us because we also are really not doing much about that. So by my score, it's 5-0 Russia. And the game is starting to wind down. Now, North Korea. They are also laughing at us. They are pitching a 3-0 shutout. One, they have continued their nuclear program. Now, obviously, all that doesn't fall on Trump. A lot of that falls on everybody from Clinton through Obama. But that's still 1 point for them. Number 2, they're launching missiles, ICBM missiles. We aren't doing a damn thing about it. So I got to give them a point for that. That's 2-0. Number 3, we're bullshitting about negotiations being over, because if they make an attempt to come to the table, which they won't, we'll be right there. So I got to give them a point for that because all we're doing is blustering and throwing out a lot of crap. Now, folks, Donald Trump talked all that stuff about being a strongman and how weak everybody was that he was running against, Republicans, and Hillary Clinton, etc. So where's the strength? I don't see any. His whole cabinet is full of crap. And let's start with the Secretary of State, Tillerson, who's obviously in league with the Russians. And he doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. So all he could say is, we're done negotiating with North Korea. That's not saying anything, and it damn sure is not doing anything. Donald Trump is inept, okay? All he wanted was the position of president. And it was rumored before that when he went to Kasich, he told Kasich that he would be the real power in the White House as far as getting stuff done, and that Donald Trump would just do all of the visual work. Well, we could see that was not a fantasy. It's actually what's happening because Trump isn't doing a damn thing in the White House. He sold America on how strong he was, but he has none. He sold us a bill of goods. And now that it comes time to open up the package, we find that there's nothing in there. Well, at least there's been a shakeup in the National Security Council, and he finally kicked that racist asshole whose only agenda is to destroy our government, Steve Bannon. He kicked him off of the National Security Council, so he has real people there to do the real job. Now, whether he listens to him or not, I don't know. This Syria situation is a place that we really need to, quote unquote, using Obama's words, draw a red line. Number one, what we need to do is we need to declare a no-fly zone. And that's a no-fly zone for everybody. So if the Iranians don't like it, fuck them. If the Russians don't like it, fuck them too. And if they want to challenge us, we need to let them know we will shoot their asses down. So they've been warned. Keep your asses out of Syria. Number two, what we really need to do is to create or partition Syria off. If you're not aware of it, there are three major factions in Syria. You got the Kurds that are in the northern part of Syria right next to Turkey. You've got the Sunnis, which are the largest segment of the Muslim population. And then you have the Shiites, which are the smallest section of the Muslim population. But Assad is a Shiite, so they are in power. What needs to be done is the country needs to be cordoned off. You give a portion, decent portion of it to the Shiites. You give a decent, more than decent portion of it to the Sunnis because they have the largest population. And you give the Kurds their piece. Now, obviously, Turkey's not going to like that, but you know something? Fuck them if they can't take a joke. That's what needs to be done to calm things down in Syria. Then you need to get together with everybody to get rid of ISIS. It's funny that Donald Trump met with the King of Jordan today and gave a, guess you can't even call it a speech. He gave some words about things that are going on. And the funny thing about it is, he just stated today that he now accepts responsibility for Syria, ISIS, and the Middle East peace. You know something? He's treating this like it's on-the-job training. Anybody and their brother knows that when you were walking into the position of the President of the United States, you were going to have to deal with Syria, ISIS, and the Middle East peace issues. And you should have already been planning on which way you wanted to go so that you could hit the ground running. But in Trump's case, he figured that he would, have his 30, 60, 90 days of I can have a good time here before anything seriously went down. But President Obama told him in their first meeting that the biggest problem he was going to face was this guy right here, North Korea, with these missiles and their nuclear capability. Now, folks, North Korea already has ICBM missiles that can reach the continental United States. A lot of the people out there won't tell you that, they won't advertise that, but it is in fact the case. They already have missiles that can reach us here on the mainland. The thing that they don't have the capability of doing is nuclearizing those missiles. Now, they obviously have nuclear weapons there. They've been exploding them, here and there. But they don't have the technology or the capability at this point of marrying the two. But the clock is ticking on that as well. And it's projected that within 4 years, they will be able to marry those two. So the question is, do we wait for them to have the capability of hitting us with a nuclear missile, because this guy is a fucking lunatic, or do we take a preemptive strike and knock out all their capabilities? Now, a lot of people are saying, well, you're going to piss China off. Well, hey, China had their chance, and if they want this thing to if they don't want this thing to escalate, they need to get in there and do something with this guy now. And that needs to be told to them in plain English, Mandarin, or whatever language that they choose to communicate in. And there needs to be a clock. And once that clock expires, we need to do what we need to do. We are spending $600 billion a year on defense, which in my opinion is way too much. But if we're spending all that money, what are we getting for our investment in the military? One, as I stated, we need to call Russia's bluff and kick their ass out of Syria. Two, we need to kick Assad's ass out of Syria and partition the country so that at least there will be, some semblance of peace. Okay. Three, dealing with in the Middle East with this, that, and the other. I don't have the answer on that one. And that's only because I really haven't sat down and really tried to put the stuff together. But there's got to be an answer for that. But that's, in my opinion, way down on my list of things that we need to do. So, America, when are we going to call Mr. Trump to task? When is he going to prove that he's a man of quote unquote strength and not just plain bullshit? I don't know, but the situation is starting to get dire. And as far as the rest of the world respecting us, I think there would be a hell of a lot more respect if we went in to the UN, asked for a consensus and a coordination of forces to go in and take care of this. And if Russia and China decide to veto whatever resolution is in there, we just straight out look them both in the face and say, well, guess what? We're going anyway. Call their bluff, and I believe that they will back down. And particularly the Russians, because if they want to get into a shooting war with us over in Syria, with that Krogedy aircraft carrier that they have, and R3 modern, and they are modern, they can claim that our Navy is outdated, but we have 7 nuclear aircraft carriers. 3 of them, in my opinion, would do the job, together with any assistance that we got from any of the allies, countries like Jordan, Saudi Arabia, etc. Anyway, that's just my take on it. Donald Trump stated that Syria has crossed a lot of lines, but unfortunately, he didn't say that they crossed a red line. So in my opinion, he's basically just hedging his bets and doesn't want to be the quote-unquote definitive leader that he claimed that he would be when he was running for election. Folks, I want you to take a look at Donald Trump's numbers as far as the American people are concerned. As you can see, based on the Quinnipiac University polls, Donald Trump is underwater everywhere. His approval rating on health care is 28% versus 64% disapproval. On immigration, his approval rate's 39% versus 57% disapproval. On the economy, which he claims is his bread and butter, his approval rating is 41% versus the 48% disapproval. On the environment, his approval rating is 29% versus 61% disapproval. On foreign policy, and it should be a lot lower, his approval rating is 33% versus 58% disapproval. And on terrorism, his approval rating is 42% versus 49%. So on every major issue that the American people think about, this guy is underwater. And it's only going to get worse because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Now, 3 polls came out that really tell the story. The Gallup poll has him at a 39% approval rate, and his disapproval rate is 55%. The IBD TIP poll has him at a 34% approval rate and a 56% disapproval rate. And the overall Quinnipiac University poll has him at a 35% approval rate and a 57% disapproval rate. We haven't seen numbers like this since Bush, and that was 7 years after Bush came into office with 2 wars going on and the economy going in the toilet. These numbers are phenomenally bad. And in my opinion, they only are going to get worse. Now, here's the other thing. His pick for Secretary of State, Tillerson, is a flippin' idiot. Instead of him making a really definitive statement about North Korea, all he had to say was North Korea launched yet another intermediate range ballistic missile. The United States has spoken enough about North Korea. We have no further comment. What kind of bullshit is that? That's not saying anything. So, in my opinion, the North Koreans are laughing at us, the Russians are laughing at us, and the people of this country are in a shitstorm, and he's not doing anything about getting us out of the damn storm. Now again, the Russians are laughing at us.